It always strikes me funny when people clown. I guess it's better than boo, huh? I got a lot of stuff I want to cover tonight because I think there's a lot of loose details that are hanging out, and if anybody needs to know what's going on with me, it's you guys. Um, my little family. At any rate, I hope you can follow my ramblings because there are a lot of loose details I want to talk about. Okay, at the end, I'm going to leave a couple of minutes for any questions you have. So, so think of something so I don't have to talk so long. My voice is probably not as clear or consistent as I would like it to be because I've got this chest cold. I was disappointed not to be with you tonight. I'm just going to give you a very short picture of my background and how it kind of parallels that of the Rotary Club, but on opposite ends. Obviously, I've got polio, and or I had polio. When I say I've got polio, I'm reminded of the dean of the University of Texas. He says, "Yeah, we'll accept you, all right, son, but you got to go out and get vaccinated." I thought that was kind of funny. After years and years of fighting polio, I had to get a vaccination shot to be accepted at the university. But I'm not carrying it. It's not in my pocket. Nobody's in danger. It's long gone. Anyway, it did its job, and it did its job at the peak of the polio epidemics in '52. And I was told, my family was told, don't even bother to take me to Parkland because there were miles of people around the hospital. There was no chance I could get in. So mom and dad took care of me until I was a week after contracting it. Completely passed out and not breathing. So they finally took me because emergency conditions, and dad having to fight his way through to the emergency room. Finally got me there. At which point they did pronounce me dead. But that wasn't the end of the story. The doctors more or less put me aside because there was thousands of us, so they just went to the very next one. So they hopefully would detect some life. Yeah, but then sometime later, a doctor came by and for some reason or other decided he was going to take me himself. They put me in an iron lung, tracheotomy, and pulled me back from death. Now, what was interesting about that was that it worked. And I did regain consciousness later, much later. But I found myself in a very crowded hospital with hundreds of patients around me, unable to speak and unable to move. and I had no idea where I was. It took me a while to figure out where I was, but even longer to decide that this wasn't the place I was going to be fond of, and decided I would leave. Well, when you're confined to an iron lung, there is no way out. Okay, the front of the iron lung, if you can picture it over your monitor, was completely sealed in by a tent, a plastic tent, which a thick mixture of steam is pumped into regularly to keep my breathing going. So this is where I was confined. Since I had a tracheotomy in my throat, I wasn't able to speak or make any noise, much less call a nurse. Complete, total isolation at 6, 7, and 8 years old. Very bizarre. I kept trying to move. Nothing would ever move. My little finger on up to my head, neck, legs. I wanted to feel something, touch something familiar, but nothing was ever there for me to feel because I couldn't move at all. This went on for 18 months, and I decided it was time to go. And when or if you ever decide to read the book, now finishing up over all these years, it will tell you how I did escape. And I did literally escape. My mom and dad took me home by the warnings of my doctors to not get hopeful that I would probably die before Christmas. And it was a few days before Christmas. Well, the next phase of polio and myself and the struggle involved getting better instead of dying. That was, I think, because I was having good care for a change. My parents were completely devoted to me and took care of me 24 hours a day. They were remarkable people. Over the years, I got better. I got the tracheotomy out of my throat so I could talk or learn to talk. Okay, they got rid of the steam tent so I could actually see people and they meet. There was contact. And then later on, I learned a new way of breathing. And that was extraordinary. Because nobody ever thought I would breathe again. That's a very quick summary of bringing me up to telling mom and dad, I've got to go to school. I've got to go to school. Because I had thought all this out and decided that if I was left there laying in my iron lung forever and ever, oh man, that I would not make any progress. I figured out that I would have to get educated. educated per the first grade, and all through the 12th, and all through college, and graduate school, because I determined that if I did not, one, nobody was going to give me a chance, and two, I would have to be better than anyone else to even get that chance. The recognition, I think, that those years determined where I was going to go and how, but it took a lot of work to get there. Finally, I did get there. College did turn me down. Even though I did great, like second in my class. But they didn't feel that they were sufficiently insured to protect, I guess, liability on their campus. It took me 2 years to persuade them differently. Started out at SMU and then transferred to university. Texas, where my goals were. And that's where I started school. I transferred in 1971, which eventually led to my degrees in economics, accounting, the business, and law school and graduation. And that's what led to my career. Very quickly, that's kind of the history. But let me tell you what consumed my time, which is really interesting from your point of view. You guys, I guess I'm 82, somebody had got the bright idea of finding the polio virus worldwide and eradicating it from the planet. From the planet, period. That's amazing, since I was on the other side fighting it from an end product point of view, the final crippled, if you were a person denied school, education, career, family, relationships, you name it, I've been denied it. And denied it over and over and over and over. Recently, I had an absolutely extraordinary attendant take care of me. She was one of the best I've ever seen in my life. When her family got through talking to her, she went on to other things. Not because she wasn't incredible, because she loved taking care of me, but the families are not suitable to accepting very many of us into their families. And that's pretty much across the board. I fought that. I fought that in elementary school, I fought it in college, and still, at my age, I'm fighting it. But, moving on, I worked with an organization called PATH, which challenged the right of children to go to school that were disabled. And who would fight them to be in their skill, to be in their system in school, to schools themselves. I was hired as a graduate student and young lawyer to go fight the school systems across Texas. God turned them down. And that's one of the organizations I joined to fight. The other one was an organization called Advocacy, which represented many kinds of disabilities all across the state of Texas to fight discrimination against disabled people for being disabled. We traveled all over the United States to do that. Can you see us dragging by our lung at the Renaissance in Washington? We'll take our room now. We took our room and we fought it in Washington. Now that tells you a little bit about where I've come from and who I am, and let's just say small deal. The book will tell you the rest. If you don't read the book, you'll hear it from me. Because every time I get a chance to speak, I talk about it. That's all I've got to say. If any questions, I'm ready.
Do y'all have any questions? He's ready to answer. Y'all can't be that quiet.
Linda, I have a question. Paul's been doing some speaking around the district. Can you give me an idea of some of the clubs that he's spoken to?
You want me to do that? He spoke to the Park Cities. He spoke to the Park Cities Rotary Club. Of course, he's been at our meeting before in October. He did a Skype meeting last Wednesday with the Tampa Bay Rotary Club. He's going to be coming over to Pets to speak to the spouses program, and also I think we're going to arrange for him to speak with the Rotary International President Ravi Radrendran. He's going to be going over to the Fort Worth East Rotary Club on March the 30th. So those are the only ones that we've got lined up right now. And anyway, we're keeping him busy. Oh, he is supposed to be going to district conference, and that's in April. He's got to figure out how to get him down there quick and get his iron lung down there. He is going to be next September at the Zone Institute in San Antonio. So he is the poster child. That's what I call him, my poster child for polio. So,
Bill Boyd.
and Bill Boyd, Bill Boyd's going to be in contact with him. He's past international president from New Zealand. He did speak with Robert Scott, who was in charge of the Polio Plus campaign for 8 years. He's out of Canada. So he and Paul talked for a while we were in San Diego. So Paul has gotten his name around with the Rotary International media, the newsletter they sent out with the Rotarian magazine. Our E-Club is getting a lot of publicity. And from there, it's going to be whatever Paul wants to do. Oh, and Chris's video, we handed out about 19 of those, plus additional pictures. So internationally, Paul is known.
If I could take just 30 to 40 more seconds, I would like to leave you with this. I haven't spent all these years playing polio to not learn a few things about how the system can be made better. And so I have developed these plans and goals to improve the life of handicapped people, whether veterans, or ex-polios, or anybody else. And in terms of developing a living work center for disabled and their families to live at as they would in normal life, and change floors to go up to their office to work. And couple this operation with IBM, AT&T, all kinds of international firms that would co-op and partner with our living work centers to not only develop the jobs in-house, but in turn hire those disabled individuals so that there would be jobs in there too. We got living centers, we got work centers, got all kinds of live-in kind of situations. Okay. But nobody's ever bothered to figure out that we don't appreciate being segregated. We want to live life just like everybody else. And it would be much more efficient, much more cost efficient, and socially would be the answer to loneliness, separation, etc., etc. And the system needs to develop towards these kind of goals. Okay. When I ever get the voice to talk publicly on a broader range, I hope to be able to make changes like this. Okay. So I'm sorry I took too long, but thank you.
No, that's quite ambitious. It gives you something to reach for.
Also, anytime,
I've never heard of a plan like that.
You never have because nobody else there thought of it.
all of y'all are invited to come by and see Paul at any time. He can't always get to the meetings, as you know, but he does welcome your visits. He likes chocolate and bring chips, whatever. He does like his food. He likes his guacamole. Oh, sorry y'all didn't get in. He did, but anyway. But it would be nice if y'all make an effort to come by and visit with him and get to know him personally, like Dave and I have. He's really a true friend.
I enjoy visiting with people, so don't be
There's Larkin.
in the least bit shy.
There's Larkin.
I see you down there, Larkin. I see you, baby. There he is.
Larkin.
Anyway, thanks for the time.
You bet. Are there any other questions? Hey, Paul, when you were at the University of Texas, did you say it was like the early 70s when you graduated?
No, I entered SMU in 69, went there 2 years, took everything I could think of to take, and then transferred in 71 to UT and finished everything. I did master's degrees, graduate degrees, and stuff like that because UT, I'll be very honest with you, provided an environment in which I could survive. It was a totally sufficient and self-sufficient, independent environment. And every time I would get ready to graduate,
No, I'm just looking at something.
I'd get sick or something, drop the courses, and I have to take them again over here. So I was able to take a lot more courses and learn a lot more. Let me just give you a real quick. I'm so sorry, but I'm just full of stories. But anyway, the deal was back then there was an organization was funded, our agency funded by the state called TRC, Texas Rehabilitation Commission. They were to take care of handicapped people and get them educated and sent off to work. That was the goal. And I was the main enemy of TRC because they constantly fought me to do whatever, get out of school, get a job, whatever. And I fought them back. Not only for me, but for my fellow students who had problems getting funding. They could get funding, but they couldn't find people to take care of them. The problems were endless, but the deal was that as long as I could focus or refocus TRC's vision to the right problems.
Where does this go?
I'm sorry? They would solve them.
Yeah.
But it took years to be able to develop that skill. It was a good one to develop because I used it later. Law and administrative hearings, it was invaluable. But it took some battles to get there.